Hey everybody, Uzi here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a heavy but crucial topic, the challenges faced by Black people in different corners of the world. Now, before we dive in, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, or should I say the elephants on all 7 continents. The truth is, experiences vary drastically, and painting with a broad brush helps nobody. This isn't about ranking countries on some imaginary racism scale. It's about listening to the lived realities of Black people, understanding the historical context, and acknowledging that even in places we might not expect, racism, discrimination, and prejudice rear their ugly heads. Over the next few minutes, we'll journey across the globe, from the bustling streets of Rio to the serene landscapes of Japan, hearing stories that highlight the systemic and societal hurdles Black communities navigate daily. Remember, this is just a glimpse, a starting point for deeper conversations. We begin our journey down under, where the land of sunshine and surfing harbors a dark history. Aboriginal Australians, the original inhabitants, have faced centuries of systemic oppression. Their struggle is deeply intertwined with the fight for land rights, cultural preservation, and justice for past wrongs. From the stolen generations to ongoing disparities in health, education, and incarceration rates, the legacy of colonialism casts a long shadow. But amidst these challenges, there's a vibrant and resilient culture fighting for recognition and equality. Aboriginal voices are rising, demanding to be heard, demanding a future where their rights and stories are respected. Next, we touch down in Brazil, the land of samba, soccer, and stark racial inequality. Yep, you heard that right. Brazil boasts a vibrant Afro-Brazilian population, deeply woven into the fabric of the nation. But beneath the surface of this cultural tapestry lies a legacy of slavery and discrimination that continues to this day. While Brazil likes to tout its image as a racial democracy, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Afro-Brazilians are disproportionately represented in poverty statistics, face barriers in education and employment, and are far more likely to be victims of police brutality. Think about it. You can have the most beautiful carnival in the world, but what good is it if a significant portion of your population can't even afford a ticket to the party? The fight for equality in Brazil is about dismantling structural racism, ensuring equal opportunities, and challenging the myth of a racial paradise. It's about acknowledging the contributions of Afro-Brazilians while fighting for a future where their skin color doesn't determine their destiny. Our journey takes us to China, the world's most populous nation. The growing African diaspora here faces unique challenges. Discrimination in housing, employment, and daily interactions is common. Imagine feeling stares and whispers based solely on your skin color. For many Africans in China, that's a daily reality. Language barriers and cultural differences exacerbate these issues. Yet, Black voices in China are using art and activism to challenge perceptions. Chapter 4. France. Liberty, equality, fraternity, but for whom? From the bustling streets of Beijing, we find ourselves in the City of Lights, Paris. France, the land of liberté, égalité, fraternité, has its own complicated history with race and identity. For Black people in France, particularly those from former colonies, the struggle for equality is deeply intertwined with the legacy of colonialism and the fight against systemic racism. We're talking about racial profiling by police, discrimination in housing and employment, and a sense of being treated like second-class citizens in their own country. Imagine growing up in a country that claims to be colorblind, yet you constantly feel the weight of your skin color. That's the reality for many Black people in France. From the banlieue, the marginalized suburbs where many immigrants and minorities reside, to the halls of power, the fight for equality continues. It's a fight for recognition, for opportunity, and for a France that truly lives up to its ideals. Chapter 5. India, the shadow of caste and colorism. Our journey takes us now to the vibrant and diverse land of India. Now, India's relationship with race and color is complex, deeply intertwined with the ancient caste system and the enduring legacy of colonialism. While the caste system is technically abolished, its social hierarchy continues to cast a long shadow, particularly for those at the bottom of the ladder. And then there's colorism, a prejudice that favors lighter skin tones often rooted in colonial notions of beauty and status. For darker-skinned Indians and people of African descent, this can mean facing discrimination in various aspects of life, from employment to marriage prospects. Imagine growing up in a country where your skin color can determine your social standing, your opportunities, even your worth. That's the reality for many in India. But amidst these challenges, there's a growing movement challenging these deep-seated prejudices. From activists to artists, people are raising their voices against colorism and caste discrimination, pushing for a more inclusive and equitable society. Chapter 6. Italy, between ancient history and modern prejudice. From the bustling streets of Mumbai, we find ourselves amidst the ancient ruins and Renaissance art of Italy. Italy, a country steeped in history, is grappling with its own complex relationship with race and identity. While Italy might not have the same colonial past as some other European nations, it's facing a rising tide of anti-immigrant sentiment and xenophobia, often targeting black people. We're talking about racial profiling, discrimination in housing and employment, and even violence against black Italians and immigrants. Imagine being told to go back to your own country in a place where your family has lived for generations. That's the reality for many black Italians. The rise of far-right political parties and anti-immigrant rhetoric has fueled a climate of fear and intolerance. But amidst these challenges, there's a growing movement of black Italians and their allies fighting for recognition, inclusion, and justice. They're challenging stereotypes, demanding equal opportunities, and pushing back against the forces of hate and division. Chapter 7. Japan, navigating a homogeneous society. Our journey takes us now to the land of the rising sun, Japan. Japan, known for its technological prowess and unique culture, also presents a unique set of challenges for black people. In a society that highly values homogeneity, being black can be an isolating experience. We're talking about a country where even finding makeup that matches your skin tone can be a challenge. Imagine growing up in a society where you constantly stand out, where your difference is seen as something to be corrected or concealed. That's the reality for many black people in Japan. The lack of representation in media, the language barrier, and the cultural emphasis on conformity can make it difficult to feel truly accepted. But amidst these challenges, there's a growing community of black individuals carving out their own spaces, celebrating their heritage, and challenging the notion of what it means to be Japanese. Chapter 8. Russia, between nationalism and acceptance. From the neon-lit streets of Tokyo, we find ourselves in the vast expanse of Russia. Russia, with its complex history and cultural tapestry, presents its own set of challenges for black people. We're talking about a country where racism and xenophobia, often fueled by nationalist sentiments, can manifest in overt and subtle ways. Imagine walking down the street and feeling the stares, the whispers, the fear that you might be targeted simply because of your skin color. That's the reality for many black people in Russia. The lack of legal protections against racial discrimination, the rise of nationalist groups, and the limited representation in media and positions of power all contribute to a climate of fear and uncertainty. But amidst these challenges, there are pockets of hope. There are individuals and organizations working tirelessly to combat racism, promote tolerance, and create a more inclusive society. Chapter 9. South Africa, the long shadow of apartheid. Our final stop takes us to the southern tip of Africa, South Africa. South Africa, a nation that has witnessed both the horrors of apartheid and the triumph of the human spirit, continues to grapple with the legacy of its past. While apartheid, the brutal system of racial segregation, was officially dismantled in 1994, its impact on South African society runs deep. We're talking about a country still grappling with vast economic disparities, racial tensions, and the ongoing struggle for true equality. Imagine living in a society where your race still largely determines your access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. That's the reality for many black South Africans. The fight for true equality in South Africa is about dismantling the structural inequalities that continue to disadvantage black people. It's about land reform, economic empowerment, and addressing the deep-seated prejudices that fuel racism and discrimination. Outrow continuing the conversation, a call to action. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the complex realities faced by black people in different corners of the world. Remember, these are just a handful of examples, and within each country, experiences vary greatly. But one thing is clear: the fight for racial justice is a global one. It's about challenging prejudice, dismantling systemic barriers, and creating a world where everyone, regardless of the color of their skin, has the opportunity to thrive. So, let's keep the conversation going. Share this video, educate yourselves, and let's work together to build a more just and equitable world for all. Don't forget to subscribe to Explore with Uzi for more insightful content.